Hey, welcome back. It's hard to believe it. We're already on episode 2 of Between Sundays. I'm Benji Wham, and I'm honored to be here again with you on Refuge TV. Living life between Sundays. What is it? It's reminding you that the Christian life is not just an event. It's not just a day. It's about the events and the things that happen every single day of your life, and learning to help you with the issues and the obstacles you face. And I have somebody special here today that's going to help you with that. One of my best friends. We were just talking. I've known you now for almost 30 years.
29 plus, right at 29, going on 30. Long time.
It's crazy, but I'm honored today to have Cameron Guthrie with us. And let me just do a disclaimer right here at the top. I call him Big Show. I really don't even know where that started. We would do some acting and some different things. It wasn't my dad.
It was your dad.
My dad. But we started calling him the Big Show. And so if I call him Show or Big Show or something like that, just not thinking that's what that means. But, man, Cameron, it's awesome to have you on today. I appreciate you being here.
Super excited to be here. First time on a podcast, and little nervous here, but we'll work through it. We're gonna go at it and share today and have some good conversation.
And that's the goal. And oh man, we're gonna have a great time. This one might get edited. Some of the stories we could tell, but no, it
may need to be edited.
Yeah, but it's gonna be good. Cameron, real quick, just give us a quick little overview about you. You know, perhaps there's some because maybe there's some people out there that don't know you, and just kind of real quick, just tell us a little about yourself.
Brief, just a little blurb about me. First of all, just well, I want to put it out there. Been married almost 24 years to Alyssa Guthrie. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Husband first, father second. Got 3 beautiful daughters, Gracie, Olivia, and Abby. Super proud of each of them.
They call me Uncle Wham.
Yes, they do. It's Whammer, Uncle Wham. And so, and work in retail. I've been in retail probably 25 plus years.
Wow.
And so I'm an area manager for a major retailer, just along the coast of the Carolinas.
And grew up in Lake City, South Carolina, which we call
the Promised Land,
or the city. Now, in the International Pentecostal Holiness Church in the state of South Carolina, that right. is the Promised Land. That's where our headquarters are, the Holy of Holies.
Yes.
So yeah, and
I grew up in the Lake City PH Church.
Yeah.
Went there until I got married and moved away.
Lake City High School.
Went to Lake City High School. Go Panthers. So yeah, just grew up there. Very thankful, and just want to throw this out there. I think it's so easily overlooked. Grew up in the church. Have always been a part of the church, and very thankful and appreciative of my parents having me in church every Sunday. You remember when Sunday school was such a big deal and you got those pins for not missing? I think I went like 17, 18 straight years without missing a Sunday in Sunday school. So they had us in every day and that every Sunday, and that's such a huge foundational part of who I am.
The legacy, and I definitely want to talk about your parents and the impact they had later on. And of course, you went to Emmanuel College, which is, for those that aren't familiar, as part of the International Pentecostal Holiness Church, one of their schools, and that's where we actually met, was at Emmanuel.
Yes, go Lions. So just got to throw it out there.
Got to throw it out there.
Yeah, so I played baseball at Emmanuel.
And you had a pretty interesting story getting there, because, correct me if I'm wrong, they were getting the softball program established, so it took a little bit of softball money, right, to get. So,
great story. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. So, was talking with Emmanuel, played baseball. The money was not there for me to be able to go. So I got a call on a Wednesday or Thursday from admissions. Ron White was over admissions then.
Who's now the president.
Who is now the president, about to retire. And they had found money to get me to Emmanuel. And Ashley Howell was the coach for the softball team in Emmanuel, getting the program started. He had money left over. So I got baseball money. I got softball money.
IPHC money.
I got IPHC money. And it got me to Emmanuel. And I found out on a Thursday, and I was supposed to be there that Saturday or Sunday.
Wow.
And it was a God thing.
And so you rolled up in the little silver pulsar.
A little silver bullet. That's what we called it. Silver bullet rolled up. And, the rest is history. That was really crucial to where I would go in life.
And I think I really kind of got to know you. I was the trainer for the baseball team. I think I did some public address announcement. I did all kind of stuff.
All kind of things.
What I work with Georgetown High School now as the team chaplain. And as fate would have it, his daughter Abby,
yes,
is her boyfriend is the quarterback for Georgetown. So it's just neat how all that comes full circle. And then I was thinking too, while you're talking, I hope I can say this, but your daughter Abby is being recruited by Emmanuel. We'll see what happens there. But I was thinking about that for softball. So I'm like, wow, just the connections and all the different things at play. Because I was just remembering as you were talking about the softball money. So it's pretty neat there.
Yeah, and she's interested in that, and just and this is it's really important, like relationships in life. Just in these situations, just those relationships and keeping those relationships and those connections. And it's so important, not just for you, but it'll be important for your kids as well.
Absolutely.
So
true. Well, speaking of relationships, it was funny because we started off, I was the trainer of the team, and I think that's kind of how we got to know each other. And of course, living in the state of Georgia or going to school in the state of Georgia, anybody from the state of South Carolina, there's a little fraternity there. You immediately kind of, draw to each other. And I remember like one of your roommates, a guy named Dan, would cut my hair.
Dan Throckmorton.
I had hair back then.
The Throck.
The Throck. And yes, great guy. We could do a podcast on that whole suite right there, but we won't.
Might need some edits.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, so we kind of got to know each other there. And then what was funny was our sophomore year, your wife Alyssa started attending.
Yes.
And that first year, she and I became really good friends. She was really probably my best friend, honestly.
You were probably real good friends with her before you and I became real good friends.
And I mean, we just became really good friends. She tutored me, helped. I mean, I just had never had a friend like that. And I think it was to the point, I liked her. We'll just throw that out there. I liked her. and what was hilarious is that, but I never, it was such a good friendship. I never had the guts to come out and say, hey, I like you. And so junior year, I start seeing you're interested. I mean, I spotted a mile away, and I'm like, oh no, you're not going to come in, and I love you, but you're not going to mess up what I got going here. So I laid out my feelings, and of course, she let me down.
Easy.
She
let him down
very
easy.
easily. But here was the thing, and when she did that, because most of the time this is what happens, okay? Because you were my friend, she was my friend. So most of the time when something like that happens, everything changes and everything goes away. But I'll never forget, Alyssa said what everybody says, oh, we'll always be friends and you can. But the thing was, that was the truth. Like nothing changed with her. Nothing changed with me, with you.
Absolutely.
And I think that I really appreciate that because, I'd never seen that before. And so even though, yes, there were some things we had to work through and
figure out
things like that. But over time, like, man, what just that being true and being true to who you are. And it kind of reminds me of the scripture where we're told to let our yes be yes and our no be no. And I feel like for both of you, y'all really exhibit that, and you really try to live out what you say.
Yeah, we do. So thinking about what you just said, now it just came to me that, with Alyssa, she's so honest. There's no hidden agendas. There's no behind the scenes working something or some angle. And I mean, she's brutally honest. And if our kids ever really wanted the truth, they would ask her. Yeah. And like she's schoolwork, how you did on something, what, and and our oldest one might even say, "Wow, that was a little brutal, Mom."
Yeah.
But she gives you that honesty.
But it's love.
It's love.
Yeah.
It is. She tells you the truth in love. Her yes is her yes. Her no is her no. We really believe in that.
And honestly, when I met my wife, Patty, in 2003, we got married in 2004. Ironically, on October the 16th, which is the same anniversary y'all have. And Cameron was in my wedding. And I remember leading up to the wedding, I almost felt like we should have Alyssa in it in some way. And we ended up having you, and then your daughter Gracie was the 4 or whatever she was.
Flower
she
girl.
was the flower girl. But and the reason for that is because, again, like you said, telling the truth and whatever. She was such a friend to me, and really she taught, because I always struggled having relationships and having a girl. I just, and she kind of taught me, she kind of really taught me what girls were really looking for, and really hey, you need to work on yourself, and you need to be you, and so I'm so thankful for that, because when Patty finally came, I knew it. Yeah, I knew what to do, because and Alyssa was a big part of that.
And if we may go down a rabbit hole right here, but that's okay. Let's talk. Let's talk about this. So, Alyssa in teaching us that, and teaching us to work on ourselves, or teaching you, you learned that from her. And I just want the guys out there to know this. When you find the right person, the right woman, the right lady for your life that God's put in your life, she will make you want to be a better person.
Yeah.
You will be a better person because of her.
Yeah.
And so that's just so important. And Alyssa, not just then, but now, makes me want to be a better person.
Wow.
And I see it in, like, my oldest daughter, Gracie. She's engaged, getting married in November, Thanksgiving weekend. And I see
on the day of the Clemson, South Carolina game.
We're not worried about that. So,
it's a big deal. If
go
you're
Tar
not
Heels.
from the southeast of the.
So, but I've seen in Gracie's fiance Daniel, he wants to be a better man because of her. There's the Christ factor. That is obviously the most important thing, but the right woman will make you want to be a better man.
Absolutely. And I, it's funny when you were saying that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I know with my wife Patty, I've experienced the same thing. And I think the way I always said this, I knew it was different with Patty, because there are things I would do to try to impress girls, any relationship I'd ever been in prior. But with Patty, I didn't do anything because I felt like I had to impress. I did it because I wanted to. Like you said, I wanted to become better, not because I was trying to impress her or win her over, but she inspired me to be that. And because of the way she lived her life and who she was.
My grades got better in college.
Wow.
I worked harder in school. I was like, I can't go into this at her family thinking, who is this redneck? It's sounding so country. I was
Silver
like, no,
bullet driving.
He doesn't sound like he's smart or intelligent. But, I mean, that was just me being me. But it just makes you want to be better with everything in life. So, yeah. Rabbit trail.
No, that's good. That's good, man. And so, we kind of touched on it a little bit. So from there, you, I think through the years, really, probably, definitely while we were in college, we were co-captains of our intramural team together. The
Go Spartans. SWO.
SWO. We can talk about that later. But that's a big rabbit trail. But yeah, we were, and I think that it was from there that our relationship really started. And then when y'all left Emmanuel, I think you were in Lake City for a little bit once you got married.
We went to Florence.
That's what it was. And then went to Columbia.
Yep.
And then you landed here. And so before they sold their house, I wasn't married yet. I was living in this
oh my goodness!
This house that should be condemned. Instead of on the coast they have houses on stilts. This one was on concrete blocks instead of stilts, and literally. And
you had to go outside in 20-degree weather in the winter to wash your clothes.
Yes,
it was freezing.
It was absolutely freezing.
We had a fan in the ceiling with 3 blades, and it needed 4.
I had a bed that would fall in the middle of the night.
Oh,
it would just because the slats weren't right.
He wouldn't move. He would just keep right on sleeping.
And I mean, man, I remember we would have fish fries, and we'd play college football on
video
PlayStation.
games.
I mean, for hours, and it was really neat because you would stay with me during the week, and then you would go home on the weekends until y'all were able to sell your home and
it was just a transition period.
Relocate.
There.
It wasn't a long amount of time.
No.
But I remember that was very special. We had some good times there, and and then just through the years, our friendship has really grown. And this was actually not a part of the notes, but I feel like this is where we need to go.
Oh yeah.
What is special about our relationship? And because we've gone to church together.
Yes.
He was on our staff with our kids ministry at a previous church, and
yep.
We've had to navigate some difficult situations with church work. Our son BJ was born several months early. You helped us walk through that. You and your family. My dad died. You helped us walk through that. And then recently.
Both of my parents passed away.
Your parents died within just a few months of each other.
Yep.
And so, I mean, man, we've gone through some difficult stuff, but I bring all that up because you were talking about Alyssa and speaking truth, but I've always found you to be that in my life because we have a relationship to where, yes, we laugh, we cut up, we have fun and all that good stuff, but there's a lot of accountability there. We both have given each other permission. I don't even know if we verbalize this, but we both will ask each other the hard questions. And we know stuff about each other that very few people know. And it's not that I'm bragging, but I'm saying it's necessary because I think in this age, because here you're married to the same woman.
Yes.
How many years are we approaching?
24. This October.
You have 3 girls that are absolutely amazing.
Great kids. I know
great
they're mine,
kids.
but they are.
You've been at the same company for however long.
16 years.
And, but at the same time, too, here I would have been in 2024, I would have been married now for 20 years. I have 2 children. I'm a pastor. And I'm saying that yes, it's our faith in God is the foundation, but accountability has been a big part of that.
Absolutely.
And having somebody to help hold us to the fire. And I really, because I think that's something you're very passionate about. Like I know anytime I start a new church or like I've done it a lot, I really haven't, but you'll always, or like if there's somebody that I talk about a lot that speaks into my life, you'll ask me, well, who's speaking into their life? Who's holding their accountable? Because you care about who I care about, and you want to know who has influence over me.
If we don't have someone in our life to ask us the hard questions, and it may be different areas of your life where you have different people that hold you accountable. Like there's things in my life that, my boss holds me accountable to at the job I work at. There's areas in my life where my wife asks me the hard questions, or you ask me the hard questions, or it may be another friend that asks me the hard question. If we don't have healthy accountability in our life, we can go sideways.
Yeah.
We should be in center field, and we're playing in left field. We're signed up to be a tight end, but we're trying to play quarterback because we don't have the right accountability in our life. It's the truth.
It's the night of the NFL draft, so you can see where our minds are.
Yes, I mean, so I'm a believer in that, and I had to learn it, and it wasn't easy, and it hasn't been easy. You've been big on that too.
Absolutely.
The right accountability. Who's holding this person accountable? Who's speaking into their life? So it's a mutual thing here.
Because there's an old saying that your abilities will take you far, and we've seen that. You see people that, because of what they can do and their talents, I mean, they've gone a long way, but it's character that keeps you there.
That's right.
And a part of that character is accountability.
It is. Holding people accountable. Absolutely, I agree.
And because you're somebody, I mean, and again, you've done it with me. Like if I'm contemplating a career change or I'm contemplating a major decision, I'll bump it off you. And sometimes you'll ask me some questions and I'm thinking, jerk, why you, but no, I'm really not. But I'm thankful that you do because again, you're making sure that I'm thinking and you're helping me see it, 360, looking at everything. And you've really helped me in that area. And I'm very thankful for that.
Well, what's great about our relationship is we always pick up where we left off. We may not talk for a month, but we can pick it up and talk about anything. Mm-hmm. Everything's fair game. The hard stuff, the accountability as far as, you said career moves or thinking about doing whatever it is. For me, I most recently, I've had some changes because both my parents passed away. I've had to make some decisions, but I didn't make those decisions without speaking to people or having healthy accountability in my life. Wow. So, I mean, you've got to bounce things off of people.
And let's talk about this too, because I don't think everybody has that. And there's probably some people out there, you're like, man, I wish I did have it. I wish I did have it, and I don't. And I know there was a point in time in my life that I had in my ministry aspirations, and I was really looking big and really wanting to go, big. And I'd go to conferences and I would hear pastors talk about things like this, and I would leave depressed because I'm thinking, man, I don't have that. And then God would bring, over time, as I would pray about it, God would bring like, well, what about Cameron, or what about so and basically I believe what God was showing me is, no, you do have it. This is what's it's what's there, and remembering what's in the house. And like I think about, you remember, I hope I don't butcher it, but remember Elijah was with the widow woman, and she was, she didn't have anything. Things weren't looking good. And he asked her the question, what do you have in the house? And made, she made the meal with what she had, and that's what God blessed. And I'm a big believer in that, because God will use what's in the house.
What's in your life?
What do you have? Life? Because I think so many times we're looking for, again, the focus is on what we don't have, what's not there, but oftentimes it's just understanding, no, you have what you need. Mm-hmm. And learning to value and appreciate that and turn to it.
And I think there's times that there's people, and I'm sure we can all think of them right now, they don't know that they need that healthy accountability. They know they need something, but they don't know that's it. or they don't think, like you said, they have the right person to talk to, or they don't have the person they can trust, and I think they don't even recognize for themselves. And sometimes we have to take a step back and realize, hey, I need to do some self-evaluating here.
Yeah.
I need to talk to some people. And when you can get at that place, God can do a lot with that.
And I think the beautiful thing about what's in the house is, we both know people that have done great things, and they know of us, and yes, they could speak some great wisdom into our life, but they don't know me like Cameron Guthrie knows me, and vice versa. And so again, and I think maybe sometimes that's why we do shy away from those people, because they do know us so well.
It could be, because they're going to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
They may ask the questions I don't want them to ask.
Yeah.
Isn't it so funny in life? We tend to go to the people that we want to get the answers we want. We go to that person that they're going to give me what I want to hear. They're not going to give me the cold, hard truth.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot.
Hey, Patty sometimes will say, well, why don't you talk to this person or that person? And I'll say, because I know what they're going to say.
I don't need to hear what they got to say right now, because I don't want to hear that. Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't need them reading scriptures to me right now. But eventually, and I have that in my life. Let's just be honest here. Sometimes, if I've got to talk to someone, I may not want to talk to someone that's going to give me what I need to hear.
Yeah.
They're going to give me what I want to hear. But that what I need to hear is so important in my life. That's what Benji does for me. And I've got other people in my life that do that.
Same here.
Oh, Marty Robertson. He does that for me. Oh, Slick. So.
Oh, my goodness. We better move on from that one quick. Oh, my goodness. This is so good.
Rabbit Trail.
This is so good. So I think one thing, too, that I've admired about you from the time that you were an RA in the dorm was that you've always done your best to try to stand for truth. Because I remember, there would be things that some would resent you on because, you took the manual and the code of conduct and the things that we were expected to do as living in the dorms and those type things. And you expected, you took that seriously. You appreciated the position you were in, the fact they respected you, but you cared about those that were under you. And so if you were the RA, you expected those under your care to abide by that.
Well, they trusted me.
Yeah.
And I needed that to get through school financially. Like, I needed to be an RA. I mean, I got money for that. I needed to, make sure that I did my best at that. And I could go down a rabbit trail here about doing your best in life. It doesn't matter what it is. You do your best for the Lord. You do it with being an RA. You do it with being a husband. You do it with being a father. You doing it with being a boss. But I won't go down that trail. But being the RA was helping me get through school. And it wasn't easy. I made mistakes as an RA that I had to go tell my dean of students, I did this and I messed up. I got campused for a weekend as an RA because I made a mistake, and I didn't think anything about it until after it happened. And someone...
Being campus means you
being
don't
campus,
leave.
You don't leave. Someone said to me, hey, do you know you did this? I was like, no, I didn't. They said, yeah, you did. I was like, really? I did. So I went and told my RD and then the dean of students, and they were gracious. And I was campus. I didn't leave for a weekend, and that was it. But I held myself to that standard as well. And there was one night some people tried to come in late. I went from the third floor to the first floor because people kept trying to sneak in on the bottom floor late at night past curfew. Yeah, we had curfew. It's in college.
11 o'clock during the week, 1 o'clock on the weekend.
That's exactly right. And so I caught some guys coming in past curfew. Not, you don't want to say caught, but they were coming in and I had to address it. And there was friends of mine, because I addressed them, that said, "What are you doing, Cameron? You need to leave those guys alone. That's not right. You need to leave them alone." But actually, it was right, because those guys were breaking the rules, not just being late. There was other things going on as well. And so, but I had a lot of pushback from friends on that. But I know right now, 47 years old, that I made the right decision then.
Wow. At
21 years old.
Yeah.
Right is right and wrong is wrong.
And I feel like that has served you well, not only as an RA, but in business. Because I remember when you were living with me at the very beginning, and you were really wrestling one day. You came home and you had gone out to lunch somewhere, and I think you had seen someone that had worked with you that was having an alcoholic beverage,
indulging in some beverages on their lunch break.
Their lunch break, getting ready to go back on the clock, and you came home and you were like really struggling. Like, you're like, what do I need to do? And I remember we had to talk through that.
And see, here's the situation with that is, this person is old enough to be my dad, but he worked, but they work for me. But it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so in doing that, and what you find is, like, sometimes people just don't know better. Some people just don't know better, or they've seen it from previous leadership. And so then we started going down the road there, and they saw it from previous leadership.
Yeah.
Until, and so you start uncovering some things. But in the business world, like, your yes is your yes, your no is your no. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I hold to that. I don't waver from that. I don't need anyone making excuses for me, or people working for me making excuses for me. I can handle it, because I'm going to do it the right way.
Yeah. So basically, it's being held to a standard.
Right.
And I think a lot of times in life, we want to experience great things, but oftentimes we don't want to be held to a standard. But it's when we're held to a standard that we find, I believe we often find that we're capable of much more than we've given out in the past, performance-wise, as far as whether it be a job or whatever. When somebody again holds you accountable, expects something out of you, that's when you give more.
And I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn here. That starts in the home too, and it has to start with parenting, or having good parents. And you have to set a standard for your kids. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a drill sergeant. Don't mistake the word. But you have a standard for your kids. And you hold your kids accountable, because when they're 30 years old, they'll be able to be held accountable. But if you've got kids, or you don't have a standard in your home, and you're not holding them accountable to what is in your home, then at 30 years old, they're going to really struggle with the job. Wow. They're going to struggle with a lot of different things. So, sorry for the sidetrack there, but...
And I'm glad you went there, because I think with your girls, I mean, with his 3 girls, I mean, if I'm having to pick somebody for anything, I mean, those girls are as good as they are. I mean, they really, really are.
That's because
they babysit my children. I mean,
that's Alyssa.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
But again, holding them to a standard. But I want you to speak to this too. Hold them to a biblical truth, and have taught them biblical truth, and how difficult is that, and how challenging has that been in the world we live in?
I'm trying to think how to even word that. It's hard because they're in the world every day. They're at school every day. They see what kids are doing, and it's accepted in the world every day. It's accepted by teachers. It's just the conversations, how do we handle it? We have honest conversations at home and address the behaviors that we don't agree with, or that we see is going on at schools. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and we address that at home. Not necessarily what they're doing, but if they're seeing things, or it's being taught, or they're coming home and saying things, let's talk about it. This is not right. What does God's word say? Match it up to the word. Does it line up? It doesn't. It's hard. The girls don't like the girls at different periods in their life didn't want to hear what we had to say because everybody else is doing it a different way.
Yeah.
Or so and so's doing it. We heard this forever. You're gonna love this. Well, everybody's doing it. Yeah. It happens. When you're a parent, you're gonna hear that. But that's not what we do. And it's okay. People are gonna say your kids are sheltered. No, they're not sheltered. We give them the truth based on our beliefs and how we're living our life. And let me tell you something, parents. Sorry, I'm not trying to get on a parent thing. If you're not speaking into your kid's life, or you're not talking to them about things that's going on in the world or at school, somebody else is. And do you want them speaking into your kid's life, or do you want your kids to hear it from you first?
Yeah.
And you've got to be that voice in their life, not somebody else.
And something I have found, I mean, like you said, not being drill sergeants, I think sometimes the strategy is maybe overkill in that department, that sometimes we can shelter, we can over shelter, we can overprotect, and then it's like they don't know how to handle things. And something that we have learned is that we have tried very hard to, I mean, yes, we are protective. I'll admit that.
You should be.
But we are protective, but at the same time, we're probably a little more lenient than perhaps some think we should be. But we've learned that that's a great time to have those conversations. Hey, that program we were watching, this came up, or that was said. What do you think about that? Or that this is what God's word says, but this is what they were saying. And I think it's important because, like you said, they're going to see it. They're going to hear it. So, when you have those opportunities and you have that kind of dialogue and you create that kind of setting and environment, then you're able to go through it in a healthy way. And you got to be careful with that. I understand that.
Yeah, completely agree. And because we've tried to let our kids make decisions with guidance, from like when they get old enough to make decisions. Now, obviously, if we think they're making a decision that's going to be terrible and have huge consequences, we're not going to, we're going to steer them away from that. But we've given them the opportunity, just small decisions. Okay, do you think it's right that you should be going out with them? Who's going to be there? Do you, just simple questions like that, and give them the freedom to make those decisions. But they've been allowed to do a lot. They've gone to St. James High School. 1,800 to 2,000 kids.
Right here in Merlesville.
Right here in MI, South Carolina. Woo. So go Sharks. So, they've experienced a lot. They've seen a lot. They go out with their friends just like any and everyone. But they talk to us. We ask questions. We ask hard questions. My girls will tell you, and you can see it, if things are not lining up in the conversation I'm having with them, they know I'm gonna ask the questions and I'm gonna start digging.
Yeah.
And not that I've ever had much to dig, I haven't, but asking the hard question, like we were talking about accountability for you and me earlier in our relationship. It's no different with your kids. Ask the questions. Ask the hard questions. Your kids will love you more if you have a standard in place and you talk to them and you hold them accountable.
That's good.
They will. They'll respect you more.
And I kind of want to veer off, but yet kind of piggyback. This was just something that really kind of popped in my brain. When when we started this church, because of our relationship and our friendship, there were a lot of people that thought y'all would come here. Because you live right here in town. You go to church like less than 5 minutes from here, and it's a wonderful church. You're happy there, and it was and again, I think a lot your children, that was a big influence in the decision. But I think one of the things that we all talked about is there was really no pressure. I don't even think I even asked you, hey, are you coming? Do you want to help out? Because of the relationship. Because the relation is as important as this is, and we would love to have had them here, and I'm sure it was hard for you maybe not to come here.
Absolutely.
But the relationship mattered more because again, that accountability, being able to ask those hard questions, being able to, me being able to speak into your life and all of those things, that outweighed it. Do you just speak to that for a second before we move on? I don't know. I know I'm kind of jumping around, but that kind of came to my brain.
I think that's awesome conversation right there, because when you took over this church, and again, I mean, yes, it is right down the road where we go. You said something really early there that I want to speak to real quick, and if I'm going to try to stay on track. When we decided to change churches years ago, we visited a lot of churches, and it was the right move, a lot closer to home for us. But we asked our kids about kids' church. What were they getting? We were asking, what did you hear? What did y'all talk about? And so the kids' ministry in those churches, and I'm not saying any of them were bad, but we just want to know, was it good? What y'all talk about? What you do? Just a lot of questions. So we ended up where we go now, Southstream, and they had a great kids program, and it was really good, and all our kids came through the kids program, and everything was great. And so we settled in there.
I mean, developed in a lot.
Yeah, they got a program there. We got a program there.
Great facilities.
Great facilities. So, and so it was good, and so we were really dialed in there when y'all came here. From kids' church to youth group, really plugged in. And so, yes, it was topic of conversation in Team Guthrie's house. It was. But it also, I've been a part of churches where you had those good friendships, but then in the church atmosphere, things happen, and it can impact the relationship.
Yeah. And
for us, if I'm being very honest on this today, I didn't want to do anything to hurt our relationship.
Yeah.
And it allowed us the freedom to be able to talk about different situations. What if there's a situation at a church that we need to talk about, but we go to the same church?
Yeah.
Or we need to talk through things. And maybe, sometimes we need that outside perspective that's not attached, to have those conversations. So we never felt like, God was calling us here, but we wanted to support you, and we've been to a couple events to support. You've been and fantastic. we're supportive in any way we can be, but we didn't let that impact our relationship. Yeah. It was almost like I wasn't willing to put our relationship on the line in concern that whatever it could be.
And I think it was important for me because I'm like, okay, you come here. And I'm preaching about something maybe I've struggled with, and it, so you may not, you may not get anything from it or whatever. And again,
how's he preaching about that? I know about that. Come on, yeah. I mean, that's honest.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, very true. So I guess as we're starting to make our descent and landing this flight, let's.
We're all over the place.
I do want to. I want to talk just a little of, and I think you kind of touched on it, just the foundation of family. Like you said, your dad passed, was July or was it June?
Yep, July.
And then your mom passed in October. And I mean, it was just, I mean, you're still probably dealing with that, I'm sure, and all that comes with that. What was their foundation? How important has that been in your life? Like you said, because you're setting your children up to do the same thing. So how key was that in your upbringing?
So I touched on it a little earlier. Some people may not like this statement, some may. It's okay, I know it's right. Church was an option in our house. We went to church every Sunday. And we were going to be in church if the doors were open. And so that really started and laid the foundation. And not only that, it was lived in our home. And you know, was it a perfect home? No. Were there fights? Yes. Were they, you know, we were not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But my parents made sure we were in church. And I'll tell you this. There have probably been more nights than I can count that I woke up with my mother praying over us. Wow. Anointing our head with oil and praying over just us, just in general. And let me tell you how important prayers are. Sorry, I might get sidetracked as well. Just because someone in your life may have passed away that was praying for you doesn't mean those prayers aren't still being answered.
That's so good.
Grandparents, you keep praying. Parents, you keep praying. Because God will honor those prayers after you're gone. So, but making sure that we were in church, kids' church, Royal Rangers, youth group. You know, I was a part of a great youth group at Lake City PH Church. David Ingram did it. Power Source, you know, it was a program, you know. Won nationals in Teen Talent, just a shout out there. The program. But, you know, them having us in church was such a huge part of that. And that really laid the foundation. With that foundation being laid, you know, it really helped me. It really helped me become the person I am today. Yes, it was hard to lose my parents last year. Still a little raw, but it's easier because I know where they are now. I know the legacy they left behind. I know it's and again, it's not easy. I lost my brother 20 years ago, and so that kind of really put more on my plate because it was just me and Nelson. So Nelson's been gone 20 years. And so it really propelled me to where I had to do more for my parents.
You had to step up. I mean, you had
absolutely,
and probably is why you've always been such a leader. Yeah, that probably played a role because you just having to step into these roles maybe perhaps sooner than you probably felt you were ready, but it got you prepared.
It did, and it's a part of who I am today. And then with the mom and dad passing away last year, it was a lot. Me at the hospitals and all those things. But, I never was unsettled about what God was doing. And I'm still confident in this is God's perfect timing. Things happen for a reason. God could have stepped in if it was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. And I'm okay with that. I still miss him. But, my faith kept me grounded in all of that. And that is the truth. My family, my wife was huge in all of that. And so, just being raised in the church, having the right people in my life, marrying the right person for my life, it all adds up to why you can walk through things like that and walk through, just things like going through last year, what I went through with mom and dad. And last year I got a promotion at work. And this is just a side note. My parents both went into the hospital my first day in role. And so I say that to say, it was a little crazy and hectic, but I never lost hope or got mad or was, I knew God had a reason and a plan for all of this. And it's still working those things out. That plan's still being worked out. So I'm good.
And how fitting and special. Here we are just a few months away from now Gracie getting married and again that cloud of witnesses that we learn about in Hebrews and how we run the race set before us, and really kind of what that's describing is the whole thing of the relay race and the baton being passed, and your parents no doubt ran their laps well. Now you're running yours, but yet you got those three beautiful girls taking that baton, and
That's
I
right.
just believe that it's the Guthrie family, the Guthries,
Team Guthrie.
they're going to continue to, make an influence for generations to come. So, well, brother, man, this has been a pleasure. This is what we do on the phone.
Yes, it is.
He was worried. He's like, man, our last episode was over an hour, and he's like, I don't know if we're going to be able to talk that long. I said, Cameron, we like talk on the phone, like literally,
that long a lot.
for hours. I said, this is nothing. But man, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being the friend to me that you've been. And man, I'm just excited that many more years to come, buddy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for Team Guthrie.
Amen.
Again, it's no joke when he says this. My kids do call him Uncle Wham.
It's true.
That's I've got videos of us dancing in the house together. Good stuff.
We need to end the show.
No, I mean, if I can throw these in, we'll throw them in. But yeah, it just really good stuff. Thank you for being the person you are and what you're doing, not just in the community, but in Team Guthrie's life. So,
man, it's been a
thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you for that. And in closing, if you would you just take a minute? If you don't mind, I'd like you to pray for somebody out there today. Maybe they're just close us in prayer. Maybe there's somebody that they're watching, and again, they're looking for that accountability, or they're wanting somebody, they're in need of that kind of relationship. Just pray for them. Maybe God to give them some wisdom, guidance, show them perhaps who's already there. They're overlooking it. Pray for that. Pray for those parents that are trying to stand for truth and raise children in this world we're in, and or maybe somebody's lost a parent or whatever. Just whatever's on your heart. Just take a minute if you would and just pray.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Father God, we love you and thank you for the many, many blessings that you give us. And we thank you for watching over us and taking care of us and blessing us and ordering our steps and placing us right where you want us if we're willing to listen and follow. Lord, there's so many people in life that walk life day in and day out, and you know this, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, that need that right person in their life, that right person to speak in their life. But they may be afraid to ask for it.
Yes.
And I pray that you would give them the courage and place the right person in their life so that to ask for that help, to ask for that guidance, to ask someone that's farther along in life than they are. And Lord, there's many families out there that are hurting or may have lost a loved one recently in their life. And I pray that you would be with them. It's not an easy road to walk. You know this above all of us, and you know it more than all of us. And I pray that you would place a person in that individual's life that can help them walk that out. And Lord, I lift up Pastor Benji and this podcast, and I pray that you would continue to bless it, that great things would happen, and not so much for the podcast, but for the people that are listening to the podcast, that maybe they're getting something out of it that God wants them to get, that you want them to get. And Lord, I continue to just ask that you would bless this place, bless this church. Thank you for this time together. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, my friend. And
thank you.
I know people out there were blessed. I just want to remind you again, this is no obligation. But if you would like to contribute to this podcast, it is the Refuge Merle's Inlet, our church. This is our gift to you. However, if you would like to contribute, because there are costs and there are things associated with it, you can do so by texting Refuge MI to 77977. It's safe and secure. And then click the tab Other, and then put in there Living Life Between Sundays. And our promise to you is every single cent that is given, we will do all we can to get this message to as many parts of the world as we can. And we certainly thank you for your faithfulness and appreciate that. And also, too, if you enjoy what you're hearing on our channel there on YouTube, hit like or subscribe and share it with somebody. Get the link, share it with somebody, and let's get the word out. We appreciate it. And then very, very soon, we're going to be coming to pretty much any platform that will allow us, wherever you find your podcast. So we're going to be on audio, we're going to be on video, and we're really excited about that. And remember that living life between Sundays, it's not just a day, it's not just an event. It's about living your life every single day. It's all about what God is doing in that in-between time. And we're here to help you overcome those obstacles and those things that you face between Sundays. Thanks again for tuning in. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. We love you.